ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਵੈਂਕੂਵਰ ਦੇ ਮੇਅਰ ਕੈਨ ਸਿਮ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਕਨੈਕਟ ਹੋ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਹਨ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਕਈ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਬਾਤਾਂ ਹੋਣ ਵਾਲੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਕੈਨ ਸਿਮਸ ਹਿਜ਼ ਵਰਸ਼ਿਪ ਵੈਂਕੂਵਰ ਦੇ ਮੇਅਰ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਨੈਕਟ ਨੇ Mr. Sim, good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
Very good. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
You have approved 7 high-rise buildings in a very little time. What's going on? And are you increasing the density of that area? Or there are some double high-rise buildings? Can you elaborate on that?
Well, we've approved quite a few high-rise buildings. So are there ones that you're referring to in particular, or?
Yeah.
Okay, well, what I can tell you is we ran on a mandate of, speeding up the permitting process and allowing builders, home builders, be it single-family home builders, duplexes, low-rises, or, larger buildings to build faster. And so now you're starting to see some of the fruits of what we've been working on for the last couple of years, speeding up the process, the permitting process. So, expect to see more home building in the city of Vancouver.
So another thing is people talking about that you are trying to relocate Indigenous individuals. That leaked memo is suggesting that the administration is planning to remove First Nation people. Why is that happening?
No, that's not the case at all. So to give your listeners some context, that was a working document that wasn't very descriptive, and we never proceeded with anything like that. But to give you context, what that said was if anyone, including people with First Nation backgrounds, wanted to go back to home community if they weren't from Vancouver. On a case-by-case basis, we would look at it, and if we could help them at their request, we would see what we could do. So no one's being forced out of the city of Vancouver. No one's being asked to relocate. It is if someone asked for help, we would try to help them.
Oh, I see. So, Mayor, what is the current financial status of the city and the role of your budget task force?
Oh, you know what? Our financial situation gets better and better. We're fiscally responsible. This year, our property tax came in below the rate of inflation. It came in at 2.9% with a 1% increase for infrastructure. To give you some context, that's the lowest property tax increase in 8 years, and it's one of the lowest in the region. With the Mayor's Budget Task Force, we took their findings and we started to implement it. So we found savings of about $26 million in our first year. In addition to that, when we take over the park board, we will save another $70 million a year. With sponsorship revenues, we could, there could be a future where we generate, tens of millions of dollars per year from that. And then the Vancouver Housing Development Office, we will make, tens of millions from that as well. So, we are in a really good financial situation, and it should get better. The only thing that would make it more challenging is, like everyone else, we're in this environment where we're seeing tariffs. The economy could be hit pretty badly. If inflation's bad, we'll be suffering like everyone else, but we're putting ourselves in a situation where we're doing everything we can to make Vancouver a very financially solid city.
Mayor, there's one concern in our community. I want to bring it to you that Vancouver has a large number of Sikhs living in Vancouver, yet there isn't a single South Asian Sikh council member in your party. Why is that?
Well, I want to put it out there. We have incredible representation and diversity, not just in the Sikh community, but different communities, Asian communities, women, you name it. And so right now...
but none of them in your council.
Oh, yeah. So I'll get there in a sec. So if you want to look at representation from the community, David Greywall, who is my right-hand person at City Hall, he basically sees everything we do, and we work together on that. On the ABC board, Manjeet Claire and Ali Chaudhry, they are active in our board, which is super important. With respect to elected officials, we have Angela Hare, Jazz Verdi, and Preeti Faridko.
No, Mayor. I'm talking about the council where the major decisions are made.
Oh, yeah. And I was getting there. And so, what we've done is we would love to have more representation from the Sikh community, in council. And so we ran David Greywall in 2018. We want people, and this is a plea to your listeners. If you want to run, please come and apply, because we want those applications. We want representation in the community. And when we have people apply for those spots, then we have a better chance of having people run for council and get elected.
No, even with this by-election, your ABC candidates, none of them that you haven't kept any Sikh candidate in there, neither. That's why, community is talking about it.
Yeah, and you know what? The challenge that we have is, we need more individuals from the Sikh community to apply. Period, full stop. And so I get asked this question quite a bit, and my question back is, would you like to run? And the overwhelming response that I get from people that bring this up is, no, they don't. And so that's our challenge. I would love for us to have representation in council from the Sikh community. And so there's a complete willingness, and we've already shown it. When you look at our administration, David Greywall is my right-hand person. He's actually at the decision table. We have 3 elected officials from the South Asian community. Unfortunately, they're not in council yet, but we want to run them. Manjeet Claire and Ali Chaudhry at the board, they are making decisions at the board level. And so please, to your listeners, please apply.
Mayor, you have stated your intention to cut the red tape and streamline the processes. Which specific process you're referring to? And what concrete steps are being taken to get the development permits and other things going quickly?
Yeah, well, it's across the board. So if you look at what we've done, we ran on 3331. Which is 3 days for renovation permits, 3 weeks for homes, 3 months for low and mid-rise apartments, and 1 year for big projects. And I can tell you, on the renovation, we've hit that goal. You can get a renovation permit now in 3 days. On the home building side, you can get a laneway home permit 60% faster than you did before we started. And home permits have been sped up by about 25%. When you look at the regulatory red tape that we've taken off, we've already, there's like about 1,800 pages of red tape that we have cut, and we will continue to cut. So there's a lot of things that we've worked on. On the business side, small businesses, we reduced the wait time to get a business license by 85%. When you look at a commercial renovation, we've reduced the wait time by 45%. So we have done a lot of work to make it better, and we're hearing it. Like when you speak to home builders now, like they tell us that while there's still work to be done, they're getting their permits a lot faster than they did before we started, and we're proud of that.
Mm-hmm. And Mayor, your council halted the supportive housing projects, and the decision received a very strong backing for you. So what is your justification?
Sorry, what was
that supportive housing that you were building, then you stopped it?
Well, what we did is we put a pause on net new supportive housing. And the reason for that is Vancouver represents 25% of the region's population, but we take on 77% of all the supportive housing. And all we're asking for is, look, this is unfair to the taxpayers of Vancouver. And we just want other cities in the region to step up and help us with this, because this is not a Vancouver-only problem. This is a regional challenge that we should all be facing. And unfortunately, right now, Vancouver's and Vancouver taxpayers are taking on most of that responsibility.
And also, can you provide us some update on the Moberly Park and Sunset Senior Center projects?
Yeah, those are still ongoing. We continue to work pretty hard on those initiatives. And so after at Moberly Park, once we roll in the park board, you should see a lot of movement on the turf field there.
And also, Mayor, who are your candidates for this by-elections?
Ralph Kaisers, he's a police officer. He spent over 3 decades as a police officer. He worked on the beat. He worked as a detective. He worked on the downtown east side. And then he spent a lot of years as the head of the VP, or the Vancouver Police Union. And so he's a great individual. And Jamie Stein, he's a technology guy. He, once again, he's spent a lot of time in our city. They're both from Vancouver, by the way, and they both raised their families here. And they're both doing it because they want to help us, make Vancouver a better place, including things like, passing natural gas in the city of Vancouver when we get another chance.
Mm-hmm. Mayor, how many more police officers you're hiring?
Oh, we're continuously hiring. So, we said that we wanted to hire 100 officers. We've actually hired over 200, but the challenge we have is people retire and people, go to Surrey to work in their new police force. So we will continue to hire because we have a lot of opportunity. And so if there's anyone out there that's listening who wants to pursue a career in policing, we would love to see their applications as well.
You sit on the police board?
I do.
Mm-hmm. So there was a thought that you will be hiring some psychiatric nurses to go with the police officers in case of some mental problem people.
Yeah, and we've done that. So we also, to your point, we wanted to hire them. And so far we've hired approximately 40 mental health workers, including mental health nurses. And so, we still want to hire more, but that program's run by the health authority. And so we rely on them to, do the hiring and to roll out the plan. And I can tell you, even though we'd like to hire more, the impact that we've had with the people that we've hired has been great. We've had a lot of success there, and we're looking forward to having more success in the future.
You have police chiefs of various backgrounds in Vancouver. Is there any chance that South Asian will become a police chief?
Yeah, there's definitely a possibility of a South Asian becoming a police chief.
Mm-hmm. Mayor, anything else you'd like to say today in closing?
Yeah, we have a by-election coming on April 5th, which is very important. So regardless of who you vote for, please come out and vote. The only way the community has a voice is if you come out and vote, and you let all the politicians know that the South Asian community is a force to be reckoned with. And so we would love to see everyone come out and vote.
The people who do not live in Vancouver but have business in Vancouver, can they vote?
That's a great question. There are some rules if you're a property owner there, but if you're a business owner, no. If you're a property owner, you can vote. But I would actually check the website and check the actual rules, because I don't want to say something that may not technically be correct.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. We'll find out from you later, because that's a question that was asked many times. Yep. A lot of people from Surrey, they have business in Vancouver, but they live in Surrey.
Yeah.
Thank Thank you, Mayor. Thank you very much for your time, and we'll talk again.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
ਵੈਨਕੂਵਰ ਦੇ ਮੇਅਰ ਕੈਂਸਮ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਸਨ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ ਇੱਕ ਤਾਂ ਇਹ ਆ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਹਾਈ ਰਾਈਜ਼ ਬਿਲਡਿੰਗਸ ਬਹੁਤ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੇ ਸਮੇਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਾਸ ਕਰ ਦਿੱਤੀਆਂ ਨੇ। ਡਬਲ ਹਾਈ ਰਾਈਜ਼ ਬਿਲਡਿੰਗ 2 ਘੰਟੇ 'ਚ 7 ਹਾਈ ਰਾਈਜ਼ ਬਿਲਡਿੰਗਸ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਪਾਸ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ ਨੇ। ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ 'ਚ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਲਗਾਤਾਰ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਡਿਵੈਲਪਮੈਂਟ ਆ ਉਹ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਉੱਥੇ ਜ਼ਰੂਰਤ ਹੈ। ਦੂਸਰੀ ਗੱਲ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਪੁੱਛੀ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਰੀਲੋਕੇਟਿੰਗ ਦੇ ਚੱਕਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨੇਟਿਵ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਫਰਸਟ ਨੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਲੋਕ ਨੇ ਵੈਨਕੂਵਰ 'ਚੋਂ ਕੱਢ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ। ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਫੋਰਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਏਗਾ। ਉਹ ਡਾਊਨਟਾਊਨ ਈਸਟ ਸਾਈਡ ਨੂੰ ਕਲੀਨ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਸੋ ਉਹੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਮੇਰਾ ਟੀਚਾ ਹੈ ਪਰ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਜ਼ਬਰਦਸਤੀ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੱਢਿਆ ਜਾਏਗਾ। ਤੇ ਬਾਕੀ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਫਾਈਨੈਂਸ਼ੀਅਲ ਸਟੇਟਸ ਕੀ ਹੈ ਸਿਟੀ ਦਾ, ਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਬਜਟ ਦੀ ਟਾਸਕ ਫੋਰਸ ਬਣਾਈ ਹੋਈ ਆ, ਉਹਦਾ ਕੀ ਰੋਲ ਹੈ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਸਾਡਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਟੇਟਸ ਹੈ ਫਾਈਨੈਂਸ਼ੀਅਲੀ ਉਹ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਸਾਡੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆਰਥਿਕ ਸਥਿਤੀ ਮਜ਼ਬੂਤ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ। ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਇੱਕ ਬਹੁਤ ਮਹੱਤਵਪੂਰਨ ਰੋਲ ਪਲੇ ਕਰੇਗੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਟਾਸਕ ਫੋਰਸ ਆ। ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਰੈੱਡ ਟੇਪ ਕੱਟ ਕੇ ਸਟ੍ਰੀਮਲਾਈਨ ਕਰਨ ਨੂੰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਾਫੀ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਦੱਸੀਆਂ ਨੇ। ਉਹਦੇ 'ਤੇ ਕਾਫੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਲੰਬੀ ਵਿਸਥਾਰਪੂਰਵਕ ਗੱਲ ਦੱਸੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੰਤਜ਼ਾਰ ਘੱਟ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਸਟ੍ਰੀਮਲਾਈਨ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ। ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਕੀ ਵਜ੍ਹਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਦੀ ਗਿਣਤੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡੀ ਹੈ ਪਰ ਇੱਕ ਵੀ ਸਿੱਖ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਕੌਂਸਲ 'ਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ, ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਸਾਊਥ ਏਸ਼ੀਅਨ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੌਂਸਲ 'ਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ। ਔਰ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਪੂਰੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਡੇਵਿਡ ਗਰੇਵਾਲ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਮੇਰੀ ਸੱਜੀ ਖੱਬੀ ਬਾਂਹ। ਡੇਵਿਡ ਗਰੇਵਾਲ ਬਾਰੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਈ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ ਤੇ ਹੋਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਊਥ ਏਸ਼ੀਅਨ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਂ ਲਏ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇੱਧਰ ਉੱਧਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਹੈਲਪ ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾਂ ਛੋਟੇ ਛੋਟੇ ਡਿਪਾਰਟਮੈਂਟਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ। ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਇਹ ਛੋਟੇ ਮੋਟੇ ਡਿਪਾਰਟਮੈਂਟਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਹੈਲਪਰ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਅਸਿਸਟੈਂਟ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ। ਮੈਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਫੈਸਲੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਕਾਉਂਸਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੈਠਦੇ ਆ। ਉਹ ਚੈਂਬਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿਉਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਬੈਠਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ABC ਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਟ ਕਿਉਂ ਨਹੀਂ, ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਕਿਉਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਕਾਉਂਸਲਰ। ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਪੂਰੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਸਾਨੂੰ ਬੰਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲਦਾ ਕੋਈ। ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਸੀ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ 2 ਹੁਣ ਬਾਈ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨਸ ਹੋਣੀਆਂ ਨੇ, ਉਹ ਬਾਈ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੀ ਕੋਈ ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਟ ਰੱਖ ਲੈਂਦੇ, ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਕੋਈ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਟ ਹੈ ਨਹੀਂ, ਕੋਈ ਸਿੱਖ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ। ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਰੱਖਣ ਦੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਲੇਕਿਨ ਕੋਈ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ ਰਿਹਾ। ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਲੜਨੀ ਆ ਆਵੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ, ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲੇ ਆਵੇ, ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਟਿਕਟ ਦੇਣ ਨੂੰ ਤਿਆਰ ਹਾਂ। ਉਹ ਇਹ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਪਰ ਹੋਇਆ ਇਹ ਆ ਕਿ ਕਾਫੀ ਲੋਕ ਇੰਟਰਸਟਿਡ ਨੇ ਉੱਥੇ, ਐਸੀ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ। ਪਰ ਹਾਲੇ ਤੱਕ ਕੋਈ ਕੌਂਸਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਵੈਨਕੂਵਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੈਠਾ। ਵੈਨਕੂਵਰ ਸਾਡਾ ਪਹਿਲਾ ਸਟਾਪ ਸੀ। ਸਾਡੇ ਬਜ਼ੁਰਗਾਂ ਨੇ ਚੋਟੀ ਦੀਆਂ ਰੀਅਲ ਸਟੇਟਸ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ 2nd ਐਵਨਿਊ ਵਰਗੇ ਥਾਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਅੱਡੇ ਲਾਏ ਸਨ। ਔਰ ਵੈਨਕੂਵਰ ਨਾਲ ਬਹੁਤ ਗੂੜਾ ਤਾਲੁਕ ਆ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਦਾ। ਕਾਮਾਗਾਟਾ ਮਾਰੂ ਤੋਂ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਜਹਾਜ਼ ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਤੱਕ। ਲੇਕਿਨ ਸਾਡੇ ਉੱਥੋਂ MP ਜਿੱਤਦੇ ਆ, MLA ਜਿੱਤਦੇ ਆ, ਕੌਂਸਲਰ ਕਿਉਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਿੱਤ ਸਕਦਾ? ਕੋਈ ਨਾ ਕੋਈ ਗੜਬੜ ਆ। ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੋਰ ਰੰਗਦਾਰ ਲੋਕ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, ਹੋਣੇ ਆ ਰੰਗਦਾਰ ਲੋਕ, ਪਰ ਕੌਂਸਲ 'ਚ ਕਿਉਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਾਡਾ ਬੰਦਾ ਆ ਸਕਿਆ? ਕੀ ਵਜ੍ਹਾ ਕੀ ਹੈ? ਕੀ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੀ ਕੋਈ ਸਟ੍ਰੈਟਜੀ ਬਣੀ ਹੋਈ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੀ ਬੈਰੀਅਰ ਆ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਬਾਕੀ ਸਾਰੇ ਲੰਘ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਸਾਡਾ ਬੰਦਾ ਕਿਉਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੰਘਦਾ? ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਬਾਤਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਹੋਈਆਂ ਨੇ। ਅਤੇ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਦੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਵੀ ਚੱਲੀ ਸੀ। ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਬਣ ਸਕਦਾ ਸਾਡਾ ਵੀ। ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਚੀਨੇ ਵੀ ਉੱਥੇ ਰਿਹਾ, ਗੋਰੇ ਵੀ ਰਹੇ ਆ, ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਅਫਸਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਚੀਫ ਨੇ, ਪੁਲਿਸ ਦੇ ਚੀਫ। ਹੁਣ ਉੱਥੇ ਮਿਸਟਰ ਰਾਏ ਵਰਗੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਡਿਪਟੀ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਚੀਫ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਜੇ ਕਾਬਲ ਅਫਸਰ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਉਸ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਬੋਰਡ 'ਤੇ ਵੀ ਬੈਠਦੇ ਆ। ਮੇਅਰ ਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਸੀ, ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਮੈਂ ਬੈਠਦਾ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਬੋਰਡ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਵੀ। ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਮੈਂ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਚੀਫ ਬਣ ਸਕਦਾ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ? ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਬਣ ਸਕਦਾ, ਕਿਉਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਣ ਸਕਦਾ? ਬਣਾਇਆ ਤਾਂ ਹੈ ਨਹੀਂ ਹਾਲੇ ਪਰ